Welcome to the Predictive Playbook. I am John Ryan, your host. I can be found at John Ryan Sports 1. And I'm pleased to be here with my partner and basically co-host, Albert, who can be found at Analytics Capper on Twitter. So we've had quite a day. This it feels like a whole week already, actually. I'm on a 10-2 tear in college hoops and NBA. So I had a nice run, then we consolidated, kind of went sideways last week. Had one day was 4-1, the next day was 1-4. And much like a stock that you would look in the market, that is a bull, and it goes up and it consolidates and another leg up. But Albert, what is going on with Gamestop? I mean, my God, it's after hours it's up another 55 points, and you shared with me before we went on the air that they got rid of the CFO, and from my experience on Wall Street, getting rid of the CFO doesn't make a stock go up 100 points.
Yeah.
It's usually the other way around. It's usually a distress signal that, something must be wrong with the books, something must be wrong with this. But I didn't see the news, so I shouldn't speculate. But maybe he's just resigning, or maybe he's retiring.
I think what's happening, and again, you're much more familiar and a bigger expert in the market than I will ever dream to be.
That's kind.
But it seems like they made a change. The company is going to make a pivot, more e-commerce, more online related activities, which, welcome to 2021. So I think it's going to be a move for the future. And I think the investors in the market's reacting to that. I did send out a tweet couple minutes ago. I said I'm old enough to remember the first GameStop pop, and because even though it's only a month ago, it seems as a lifetime ago. Because from that 350 high point to what it was before today in the 40s, so much had transpired after that, and now it's kind of weird because it's deja vu all over again.
Oh, it is. There's no question. And the bubble of 98, 99 leading to the NASDAQ crash, it was more of big moves up every morning. Like I always remember Qualcomm just going up like $40, $50 a share every single morning. And we kind of know how that ended. So I guess the point that I brought it up was that this is dangerous stuff. And it's not for beginners to stick your toe in the water, because the sharks in there are huge, and they'll take not just your toe, but they'll take everything they can possibly get. And when these moves are violent, this was 58 million shares, and now after hours it's thin. There's not a lot of float available, so it's going to fly all over the place. It could go up to there's nothing limiting it from going to 250 and then back down to 100 tomorrow, just in the overnight trade. So I know a lot of people are excited about it. A lot of people are excited about Bitcoin. I actually put out a tweet that is a bearish candlestick pattern that, I wouldn't short it, but if I owned it, it's probably a good place, in my opinion, to take profit. And you don't go broke taking a profit. I know that sounds like common sense, but I am a little concerned that it's frothy. There's just too many bulls on the cryptocurrencies. And as we've seen in the past in sports betting, when you get too many people liking one team, the other team suddenly appears and plays a great game, and they're the ones that cover the spread. So I guess I'm just saying, be careful, I guess is my fatherly advice, I guess, at my age.
Great advice. And again, this is a sports show, a sports betting show. And I mean, that be careful and being smart with your money. You're not going to be rich overnight, don't think about the lottery. It's a long-term play. Every day is a grind.
Yep.
I think some book posted this today, but what do you think is the biggest lesson in terms of betting? And I replied back with, you don't let one play define you in terms of the day, the week, or the year. You just want to make sure that, you're trending upward. There's going to be bumps and ebbs and flows throughout the way, but as long as you're trending upwards, you're doing the right thing. And if you're not trending upwards, then you have to have the self-awareness to realize that maybe this isn't for you. If
Yeah,
you're trending down and you hit a big bet, and you trend down again and you hit a big bet, I mean that is not handicapping. That is just um, degenerative sports betting, and that's a completely different realm, and that's not something that you and I preach.
I agree 1,000% on that one. It is definitely a grind. Every single day is, and when you do it over time, you end up being even keeled. If you could repeat the process, there is no emotion involved. It's like, okay, I won, I lost, but you know that at the end of the month, you're going to have a chance for profits. At the end of the season, especially, you're going to have a chance for profits because there's a proven track record behind it.
Yeah.
But until you get to that point, yeah, it can be nerve wracking. It is what it is. But let's get to the first game, Albert. This is a game with Davidson, and St. Bonaventure is on the road, and they are coming to Davidson to take them on tonight. The game starts actually in about 9 minutes, I think, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is a real quick one here for those that are listening. Maybe they can quick get the bet in.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for anyone listening live. Obviously, if you don't have the ability to and you catch our shows afterwards, you're not going to get this bet. But I did send this out as a premium play to my clients today. First play of the day. I am on Davidson. I see it anywhere from -1 all the way to -2.5. Those are good numbers for me. I think they're definitely going to cover. For sure going to win if you want to go with the safer route. But a premium play, Analytics Capper premium play today is Davidson. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, it looks like the sharp money is on Davidson. Looking at this chart here, and there's times where I think you can have public and they used to call it the pros and Joes on the same side, but again, talking about the market, when you have too many bulls and bears, there's no designation between institutional and public. Like maybe you think with the GameStop thing, where that the idea was that Robinhood, et cetera, hurt the hedge funds finally. Well, I'll tell you a fact that there's a lot of hedge funds that made a ton of money on that move,
yep.
and probably did with their size help it go up. So I look at these numbers now the same way. I don't split it between Joes and pros. When you see numbers like this, it automatically includes the pros. You can't have 63% and then a higher percentage of money. And when you see that, there's got to be big bettors on that game on Davidson. So that I love that pick. That's great that you shared it with the live audience too as a premium pick, and your premium picks are always very good. Then we have a game that's underway, Clemson and Wake Forest. I'll just mention this real quick, Albert. I know you'll agree with this. Clemson right now is winning 15-9, about 10 minutes to go in the first half. So for those that got on Wake Forest at +3.5, it's not looking so good. But the in-game would be a pretty good opportunity right now if you like Wake Forest. I actually have no play on this game, but I'm just giving you an example of situations where you can take advantage of the game volatility. And that's about it on that one. Why don't we take a look at Dayton St. Joe's? 6 o'clock start. We got 81% of the tickets on Dayton. We also have 67% of the money. That's the only part of this game I don't like. I'm on a 3% play on on Dayton in this game. I do have a few analytics over here I can quick pull up. Sorry for the delay here, but here we go. The opponent adjusted power ratings that I run shows Dayton as a 14.5 point road favorite. So with the line at 8, we're getting some value here, and value meaning that there's an opportunity. That the data suggests that the line should be higher. It's not that we're getting, when you say value, it sounds like you're buying something that's not worth it because it had to be devalued to have value. That's the common misconception, I guess. But St. Joe's is 0-6 straight up, 2-4 against the spread in home games this season, and I think they're going to struggle again in this matchup against a superior team. They last played January 5th, 2021. Dayton won by 13, but failed to cover as 15-point home favorites. So now they're on the road, and it's only 8. So I failed to see what happened between that win. I think actually Dayton got better. St. Joe's regressed a little bit. So I do like this play as a 3%er. Lastly, St. Joe's is 6-20 after losing 4 or more of their last 6 games in games played over the last 2 seasons. So that's my take on that one. Are you in agreement or disagreement?
I have no play. I'm always going to agree with you. Right now, according to my data, I see that 57% of the tickets are on St. Joseph, 63% of the money is on St. Joseph. Very public there. If I had to side one way, I think it would be Dayton, which agrees with you, correct?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, that one is, it's in the A10. St. Joe's is in Philadelphia and part of the Big Five. If you really like college hoops, there's a place called the Palestra in Philly where these Big Five teams play. It's LaSalle, Temple, St. Joe's, and Villanova, and I'm missing one, but Drexel. That's called the Big Five in the Philadelphia area, and that Palestra is an incredible venue. It's not very big. It's tight. It gets very, very loud, and it's a great experience. If you're ever in Philly, try to take advantage of that. But anyway, let's move on to another game here in college basketball, and that would be I want to take a look at Alabama and Arkansas.
Very interesting game.
It is the line's speaking to me like this is an Arkansas win. So let's see where the line is now. We have eventually we'll find it.
Yeah, I see it.
There it is.
Arkansas -1.5. Is that what you have?
I have 2 here, from the Wager Talk feed. A little bit of VIG at DraftKings at -2. It opened at with Alabama favored by 1, so this is one of those crossovers.
Yeah. So John, so Arkansas and Alabama did play against each other about a month ago, 5 weeks ago. Bama won 90-59, 31 points, and now they're a dog as we get closer to the game time. How do you react to that usually?
I guess in many different ways. Say it again so I know I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so on January 16th, Arkansas and Bama played. It was a home game for Alabama. They beat Arkansas by 31 points, 90-59. Now today, they are a 1 to 2 point underdog.
Well, there's obviously the revenge in the SEC conference is a significant factor. I put more revenge emphasis in a game like this than had they lost by 7. When you get embarrassed at the Division I level, you're dealing with athletes that have been involved in high school state championship games, and most of them have worked very, very hard to get there. Not everybody's gifted and can just show up and play for Gonzaga, for example. So that's another good point, Albert, why Arkansas is probably seeing the money here. But Alabama's got 65% of the money, which implies that there was some really large bets put on Arkansas at some point today to get this thing to move 3 points. That's a pretty significant counter move to the percentages. So that makes me even more bullish on Arkansas. Alabama's a very good team, though, and that's what makes me so hesitant. And my machine learning stuff didn't have anything really strong either. It was either, as dumb as it sounds, Albert, it was telling me that if Alabama wins, it's going to be by double digits. If Arkansas wins, it's going to be by double digits. So you really can't play both sides. unless you get real lucky in game, and that's another dangerous thing not to do. But supporting Arkansas here is a pretty good system. 68% winners over the last 20 years. You're going to play against road teams all the way up to a pick that is an underdog. And now Alabama is an underdog. In a game involving two very good teams that outscore their opponents by 8 or more points per game, and after the road team has allowed 75 points or more in 3 straight games. That has gone 80 and 40 for 67%. So that maybe I will play Arkansas a little bit tonight. What do you think?
This hits my triggers. This is a pretty strong Arkansas play. I call them moneyline flips. -1 Alabama open to now -2. Like you said, Arkansas, they lost by 31 and they're still favored. I don't like that they're at home. I think a lot of people like to bet the home and away. I'm not a big proponent of that. But with that being said, this still is an Arkansas play for me. And obviously, I think we've talked about this many times in the past. Even if you have the right call, even if you have the right play, it doesn't mean it's going to be the right result, right? You just want to make sure you have enough of the right calls that, the result then hits 60, 65% of the time. So I think for me, this is still a pretty strong Arkansas play. I will say it's at 8 p.m. here Central, so still 4 hours away. There could be still a couple more movements left, and I'm most likely going to wait until before tip-off. I got screwed yesterday, John. I was on Auburn. I still pretty mad about that. Sharif Cooper was pulled out 5-7 minutes before tip-off. It was a great spot for Auburn. By the time I checked the scores, they were down by 22 at half, and I knew it was dead. So I'm definitely not going to do that again today. I'm going to wait before I fire away.
Yeah, that's a tough beat. I mean, that is an example of a tough beat because there's nothing you could have done. Yeah, that's tough.
We have Ira's commenting on the live feed here. He says, "Go Razorbacks! I like Arkansas tonight. Go Razorbacks!"
Well, let's get him into the show here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we have a consensus there. If you want to make it down as a show bet.
Yeah, that's. I'm going to give him the link right now. All right, so let's see. Where is he here? He'll be joining us here momentarily. That's nice. Another surprise. He's been doing a lot of things, keeping him away from being the regular participant in the shows like he was. But that'll soon change, and everybody will get to see him too. So let's talk about another game while we wait for him to join us.
Sure.
I'm looking at DePaul Creighton, and I've been a fan of Creighton in the Big East here for the last several years. They've a quality team year in and year out. They're 6-1 now since getting hammered by, I can't remember who it was, but it was an awful loss. And they bounced off of that in 6-1, and it had consecutive defeats actually before that 6-1 stretch to Butler and Providence on January 16th and 20th. And the biggest win of them all was a loss that I had. I was on Villanova, and they were hitting threes like you. It was raining threes. It really was. It was an amazing performance by them. They won 86-70 over then number 5 Villanova. Zagorowski had a season-high 25 points. Mitch Ballack added 20. The majority of those shots were threes. So I think even though Creighton is favored by 15, this seems to be a team that the market maybe hasn't caught up with since they devalued them after those back-to-back losses. So I'm wondering what you think here, Albert.
This one's tough for me. I haven't really looked into the numbers here. Again, John, I'll defer to you for college.
Well, I think it's a game that's worth looking at. Definitely a lean. Yeah, I would make it I would make Creighton, even though I don't like laying this kind of wood all the time, but I'm going to write it down as a show play. So we'll do Creighton, and for those that don't already know it, we use the closing line for our wins and losses, and then we also have Arkansas, and we also have Davidson, which was one of Albert's premium plays. And now I'm going to bring in the man. There he is.
Hey, guys.
What's up, Ira?
Hey, Ira.
Go Razorbacks. Let's get it.
Love it.
It's cool. It's good to see you.
I like the Razorbacks quite a bit tonight, actually. I'm glad I hopped in the chat to see that because I wasn't so confident until I heard you guys both liked it as well. But that means we'll probably lose it. But hey, at least we're on the same page.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That's a good thing because then there's no jealousy with anybody winning and losing. I say that kiddingly. Another game I'm looking at, guys, is right below it, 705, 706 rotation number, Tennessee, Vanderbilt. 52% of the tickets on Vandy, 59 on the percent of the money. I'll turn it over to you guys, see what you think, if you have anything, but I'm thinking Vanderbilt here and a little sprinkle on the money line. You think they can upset Tennessee?
John, I like to defer to you with college like Albert does as well, but I do have a slight lean to Vanderbilt here as well. So I'll probably take a little bit of a stab in this game. It is a good spot for Vanderbilt. And, I'm not the biggest college guy, but they do have some guys that can make some plays on that team. So I think that they can keep it close with Tennessee.
John, I'm gonna have to kind of play the devil's advocate here. So I see the line starting at 6.5. It's now at 8. The money is strong on Tennessee. Why is your read on Vanderbilt today?
Well, I think it's at 6.5. I'm not too interested, but now 8.5 by game time. We have another 4 hours yet to game time. So a move like this, you could get it up to 9.5. One way to play this is always take 50% of your normal size bet and bet it pre-flop. Hopefully it's at 9 or whatever it is. 10 minutes before the tip, do it. And then in game, look for increments of 4.5 points from whatever your line is. In the first half only. It's very hard to do live game embedding in the second half because the window of opportunity is so much shorter. Obviously, you have 20 minutes versus possibly 30 minutes. So I've been studying that as well, and it makes sense to me that in game is probably optimal in the first half, and it's certainly much more optimal than compared to the second half. So. An example is in the pros last night. I caught the end of the Sixers-Toronto game. So the Sixers are leading by a lot throughout the game. And then at the end, it was just like a crazy finish where if you would have done it, with 5 minutes to go, you probably could have got Toronto at plus 10 or 11. And they ripped off several in a row with foul shots too. And all of a sudden, it got to be a 7-point game. But the Sixers covered the 3.5. But situations like that don't happen all the time. That's why I'm mentioning it. So it's better to be staying away from it and say, "Boy, I could have done that," than say, "Oh my God, why did I do that?" That's the worst situation.
John, I had a scenario last night. I took the Hawks in game to win the game at even money, and I don't know what the hell happened there at the end of the game.
That's brutal. That is brutal.
Yeah, a lot of weird endings yesterday. Yes, that Atlanta won. Even the Dallas-Boston one, Dallas was up double digits with, a minute and a half. And Boston came back to take the lead, which required a Luka three-pointer at the end to win. It was just a weird game. Orlando and Detroit were just 1 or 2 points at halftime. Detroit's obviously the inferior team there. Orlando, I believe, was a -4 at halftime. They lost by 20 points. So it's a weird point right now in the NBA season. I guess we should tell viewers, be cautious because the All-Star game is right around the corner. The players may be looking ahead to that week because they do get a full week there who didn't make the team. They get to go back to their families or vacation or whatnot. So their minds could be elsewhere. The NBA was just very weird for me yesterday.
I mean, guys.
Yep.
I mean, I had the Wizards plus 14.5. They're down 5 going into the fourth quarter. I mean, what is going on with the NBA last night? It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, I had the Wizards too. I had the Wizards against the Lakers, and then another system complemented the machine learning projections. And you're right. I thought, that one's looking pretty good. And then voila.
Yeah, John, I think that was our best day though. So you had the Wizards and the Wizards money line, and then I had 3 winners myself. I think we went 5-0 in the NBA that day on our show.
We did, and then gave a little bit back with the Wizards two nights in a row and back to backs. But 12.5, and Ira got 14, which was probably closer to game time. I mean that was the right bet. That's how you have to look back on it and review your bets. Sometimes you can say, boy, that was dead wrong. Like if Vanderbilt gets killed by Tennessee tonight, I know immediately that was a bad look.
Yeah, I mean, I was on the Devils yesterday. The New Jersey Devils were actually my favorite play of the day, and they lost 3-0. That is a complete, terrible performance by them, but also a wrong call from my end as well. So I definitely live up to my end of the losses, and we keep it moving forward. Like you said, you may have a great day and you donate some of it back the next day, but as long as overall you're trending upwards, that is the goal. Let's get into the NBA, John, if you don't mind.
Not at all. I just want to quick go over one more college game, and it wouldn't be a show for me if I didn't talk about the Big Ten. I love the Big Ten.
Yeah.
We have Indiana playing Rutgers, and this is a very critical game for both teams. This matchup is so close in terms of the power ratings that -3.5, if there was a stadium filled with fans in Piscataway, I would agree with it. But since it's so even, is there value then in taking Rutgers taking Indiana plus the 3.5 when power ratings say that it should be more like pick? So I didn't know if you guys had any view on that one or not.
Yeah, it's a great question. The Rutgers are 5-5 straight up in their last 10, 5-5 against the spread. Very mediocre. Same thing with Indiana, 5-5 last 10 straight up, 4-5-1 against the spread. They have played. The Rutgers beat Indiana about a month ago, January 24th. They beat them by 4 in Indiana. So this is another revenge game or revenge opportunity. Indiana did lose at home. Now they're on the road. I do see it. The college basketball phenomenon this year with the flip-flops has been pretty strong, has been a pretty strong edge. So I don't know how the line movement has been going. Again, I haven't really looked into this game, but I can definitely see the revenge factor and the flip-flop factor.
Yeah, I agree. On my board here with Wager Talk, it's 51% of the tickets, but 74% of the money on Rutgers. Rutgers is a good ball handling team. They have one of the better assist to turnover ratios in the country, and it seems like every Big Ten team is pretty highly ranked in that category. I think it's a pass. Ira, do you see anything or?
I think Ira dropped off. I think.
He did. Okay, he probably It's good that he stopped in. I didn't see that.
Yeah, he just wanted to reaffirm our Arkansas pick, so that was awesome, Ira.
All right, thank you so much.
I did see him. He was in the backstage area. Now he's back on.
Okay.
You got it.
Hey, Ira. We were talking about the Indiana Rutgers game, but I don't think there's really any opportunity there. I thought maybe there would be with Indiana, but Rutgers is an inconsistent team. It by Big Ten standards. and their back is, I mean, both teams' back is against the wall now for the dance. I think both of them make it in, but obviously the winner of this takes a pretty big step forward.
I guess since we have Ira, the hockey NHL expert, let's ask him, what do you think is the best play tonight? I know there's 2 games that have already started, I believe, but out of the 4 or 5 left outstanding, have you taken a look at any hockey, Ira?
I like Carolina.
Carolina against Tampa Bay. They're already 5 minutes into the game.
I bet it. I wasn't sure if it started or not.
Okay, you would have gotten Carolina, what, plus 130, 140?
Yeah. I think I got it 145, maybe.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
I bet it earlier. I like Carolina. I think that they match up very well against Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay hasn't really been looking that great to me. I think that Carolina's, the way they play up against the boards really neutralizes Tampa Bay's offense.
Anything?
Yeah, Carolina's more physical than is what you're saying.
Yeah, and last night I got lucky in hockey. I had the Oilers and they came back and won.
Same here, man. Same here.
I had a 3-unit play on that. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So what else we got going on tonight in hockey? We got 4 games left: Calgary, Toronto, Rangers, Philly, Anaheim, Arizona, and LA, St. Louis. Is that where I'm seeing?
Yep.
Yes.
Man, just looking at it real quick. I mean, who do you know who's in goal for the Rangers tonight?
I think I can tell you.
Shesterkin. Yeah.
Versus Hart or versus
Brian Elliott.
Man,
I have Igor Shesterkin. Is that who you guys said? Okay.
I love that guy. Man, I'd probably take the or the Rangers are. Rangers.
You were going in and out. It was you like the Rangers?
I think we lost them again.
It's amazing, like with technology today. He's right on the beach, and in Miami, and it's amazing that the internet's not better.
My internet.
Oh, there he is.
My internet here is the worst. I don't understand it. I have the most high-speed internet in my office that you can imagine, and my Wi-Fi cuts in and out like nobody's business. To the computers, it's fantastic, but to my phone, Wi-Fi is just horrible. I don't get it. So the Rangers are minus 130, right?
The Flyers, I think, are favored. Yeah, they're favored minus 120, minus 130. It's in Philly.
If the Rangers are plus money, I think I'd take a stab at the Rangers tonight.
Interesting.
I'm going to pull up the team totals. Our good friend Chris Wallace was on the show yesterday, and he talked me off the cliff because I was going to bet under team total Ottawa, which was 2.5 goals, minus 120. And they ended up scoring 4 and lost 5-4 in a much higher scoring game than I would have thought. But that's what these shows do for us. Sometimes they talk you and show you a good opportunity, and other times it keeps you from making a bad move. And I clearly admit that Ottawa team total was, that would have been a bad bet. But here in the totals, Ira, in the Philly Rangers game, it's 2.5 over, minus 150 juice for Philadelphia. So first of all, I would never recommend paying that kind of juice for anything. And then the Rangers are 2.5 also at minus 120. And I think the line was 5.5. So those two only add up to 5. Yeah, it is. It's 5.5 minus 115.
Yeah.
So in a situation like this, hypothetically, I'll put this question to Ira. And it's something new I've been trying to do with back testing and that kind of stuff. If you have a total of 5.5 and you're bullish on a high scoring game, would it be better to bet the team totals over and play it that way. Because if it goes over, the only way you can lose if it's 5-0. Then it would have been a bad idea to bet the team totals. But if it's a division rivalry like these guys are, the Rangers and Philly always seem to bring the physicality of hockey to the forefront. That's why I'm wondering if it is better to do the team totals than try to bet the 5.5, because it could end up 3-2.
Yeah.
What do you think of those ideas? Or is it crazy?
So, John, that's a great question. Ira is off. I think he lost him again. But I'll tell you this from a football standpoint. I do like team totals more than the game totals for that very reason, especially if it's a good team versus a bad team. Because if you're on the game over, you're banking on – when you're on the game over, you should basically bank that the good team or the superior team can cover that on their own. And sometimes the inferior or the bad team just cannot score. And so in your question, to answer it, I actually would probably do the team total. We do have a chat here from Torrey Coker. Any best bets? In terms of hockey, there is one play that stuck out to me. It's actually Toronto. I'm going to give that out right now. Toronto Maple Leafs are playing Calgary tonight, right there on John's board. I like them to win. It's a little juicy. Maybe try to jump in if it's 0-0 after one, but I do like them as a pretty confident play in hockey. After my really hot start in hockey, I think I ended up 22-3 in my first 25 hockey bets. Wow. I've been even, to be honest. I think I'm 8-8, 9-8 or something since then. So I have brought the volume back down. But I do like this bet. All my reads and all my triggers are still the same during that run. So I'm going to say Toronto for tonight. We do have another chat here, John, from the kid _9. Great look at Wizards money line on Monday, John. Yes, that was an amazing call.
Which play was that?
Wizards money line, Lakers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, thank you. I mean that sometimes you look good in front of the camera, and other times you look like you need a big makeover. But that was I liked that play. It came out well. Of course, the next night I did the same thing, and that one didn't work out well. But overall that is still profitable because of the sprinkle and the money line.
Yep. Yeah. So we only have a few minutes left. That's a perfect segue to the NBA, John. If you don't mind.
Sure.
All right. The first game on the slate tonight, 6:30 local time here in Texas, is the Warriors versus Pacers. Second night of a back-to-back for the Warriors. I believe this is also their fourth game in 6 days, which is a lot of basketball. But I don't think it affects the Warriors, and this is why. Steph Curry was out in the Charlotte Hornets game. Draymond Green was tossed out at the end of the game. Obviously, the team is actually relatively young. And then you also have the return of James Wiseman. He played last night. This is going to be his second game back. Fatigue is not an issue for him. So I actually like the Warriors tonight at +2 on the road in Indiana. The Pacers are a good team. Sabonis got snubbed by the All-Star team. I think he should have been put on the team. However, they're a terrible home team. I believe they're 6-10 at home this season. 10 against the spread at home, and 1-4 in their last 5 ATS at home. So they're just not a good home team. I think the Warriors are the more explosive one. They had a really nice showing against the Knicks last night. I'm going to continue to ride them tonight.
Yeah, I like that play. I might add that looking at some of the projections here, Indiana in home games when they allow 111 or more points is 40-93 against the spread. That's in home games allowing 111 or more, and you would think Golden State will certainly exceed 111.
Yeah,
it's a good play. We'll make that a show play.
Yeah, I'm good with that. The other game I wanted to get into is tonight's main event: the Lakers versus Jazz. Lakers are always going to be one of the most popular, most watched teams in the league. I think they have 21 national TV games remaining, which is by far the most in the NBA. But they don't have Anthony Davis. They don't have Dennis Schroeder. we all know the Jazz are record-wise the best team in the league this season. I believe they're 18-2 ATS at home. They're an unbelievable elite home team, 9.5-point differential. I am actually going to roll with the Jazz, John. I never take teams this high of a spread, 9.5 favorites, but I just don't think the Lakers can keep up. I think missing Anthony Davis and missing Dennis Schroeder is way too much firepower to kind of compete. I like the Jazz tonight.
Yeah, I think you're right. And even LeBron is, he's not 25 anymore, unfortunately, but even he himself can't offset those losses. That's for sure. And they're not, as a team, even with those guys, they lost that chemistry when AD went out.
Correct. They're 3-7 in their last 10 against the spread. So the Lakers are definitely in one of those, mid-season, blips in the season where they lose a couple games in a row.
Yep.
And they're a team that's built for the playoffs. They're not really focused on trying to win every single regular season game. Whereas on the other side, when you look at Utah, they really remind me, and John, you'll remember this, but they remind me of the Hawks probably 5-10 years ago with Coach Bud. They won 60-plus games in the regular season because they were going at it every night. They were shooting a ton of threes with Korver and Joe Johnson, but they were actually taking it to teams. I believe that team had 4 All-Stars in the end. And I see very similarities with Utah. You can tell that their coach, their superstar, Donovan Mitchell, they're going at it every single game. They want to win. And not only do they want to win, but they have elite three-point shooting, and so they can really, really blow out teams and really snowball on them. And this is a great spot, in my opinion, because the Lakers generally are the public team in general. To me, Utah at home, I'm just going to back them until they lose.
Yeah, I like that side. And, the line is implying, basically at 219. Well, we'll just use 220 for an easier example. So that basically means a 114, 105 type of game. So Utah is 9-1. I'm sorry, 12-1 this season when they score 111 or more points. So the line right there gives you a little insight too. That okay, that's what the market is telling the final score could possibly be, or at least expectations on both sides. And as a result, that puts Utah in a really good situation. And I think there's a very high probability they score more than 111 tonight.
Correct. And this is a great example of your question earlier. Do you like the game total or do you like the team total?
Look what I just brought up. You're
for me,
in my mind.
If I were to bet the total here, and if I were betting the over, it would actually just be the Utah Jazz over. There's no way I can trust the Lakers right now without 2 of their top 5 best players to be able to keep up with the Jazz. Again, the Jazz have hit the over 5 of their last 6 home games. They're 5-0 in their last 5 home games. They're absolutely rolling, and I can't bet against them, like I said, until someone beats them. Obviously, you were right about the Clippers a couple of nights ago, but this is a different situation. That was a full, healthy Clippers team, motivated. This is a Lakers team that's playing poorly, 3-7 last 10 ATS. So give me the Jazz. Yeah,
when was the last time you saw a Lakers team total this close to 100? Well, recently, but before AD went out, it was never in this range. And you got 114 now showing up on Utah as well. So if you bet over and that wins, that probably also implies Utah covers the spread because they're 12-1 when they score 111 or more.
Great point. Both bets are connected with each other. So if you don't want to bet the house, right? I would just choose one of them, the one that you like the most, and go with that because there's a lot of bets when you look into these games, especially basketball or even soccer. If you're on the over, it probably implies that you're on the team total over, which probably implies you're on the favorite as well. So things like that, you do have to to think about, because if one loses, potentially all three can lose.
And we have one game underway here. St. Bonaventure 24-22, still a lot of time, and that looks to be a pretty fast pace right now. But long way to go. Anything else in the NBA?
No, I think I just want to hit on those two. The Pelicans are playing again tonight. This is their first game since that 24-point comeback, biggest comeback in franchise history. So you don't know how they're going to come out tonight. The Pistons did upset Orlando yesterday. You expect the Pelicans to take care of business and dominate them. But you can't trust them yet until they do it a few games in a row.
I'll conclude our show with Houston Cleveland real quick. This was a system that I provide a system every day in the NBA for the Wager Talk show, and if you get a chance, I mean that's a pretty darn good show. So I'm grateful that I'm mentioned on this show as one of the team members, and this system is pretty darn good, and it supports Houston versus Cleveland. Cleveland's on back-to-back nights. Betting on road teams that are facing a terrible team that are getting outscored by 8 or more points per game, coming off a win of 3 or fewer points, has earned bettors a highly profitable 56-29 for 69% winning bets over the last 25 seasons. And over the last 3 seasons, it's hit 76% winning bets with a 16-5 record. So that is my personal show pick for this edition.
Beautiful.
So that's Houston, and Houston is what? Those are the team totals. Well, we use the closing line anyway. So, Albert, just to make sure I have all the picks, because we did have a lot today. We have Creighton minus 15. Well, Creighton, and the closing line will determine when that happens. Arkansas, Davidson, Toronto in the NHL, Golden State Warriors, Utah team total, Utah minus 8. And we did emphasize that maybe one or the other is better, but we mentioned both, so we'll score it. We'll score it in our record. And then Houston, and that's it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so Creighton, Arkansas, Davidson in college hoops, Toronto in the NHL, Golden State, Utah team total, and Houston in the NBA. That's a busy card.
Give me 8-0, John.
Yeah, I'll write it down right now. It feels like it right now. It always does.
Yeah, it always feels like it's the day. No, thank you for having me on, John. I do have to get to the rest of these games, and thank you, everyone. Good luck.
You bet. And as I always say, may all the wins be yours.